the president because he actually expects people that want to come here to America and live permanently to become actual citizens. And they take offense at the idea that we'd call anyone that comes here illegal. Well, if you're here illegally and you live here illegally and you do things illegally, then you're illegal. You're an illegal alien. You're not an immigrant. However, I know today if you call somebody an alien, then you're just being mean and probably racist, even if the alien happens to come from Europe and is white. I know facts get confusing. Listen, folks, learn. The word alien comes from the Latin alienus, which means belonging to another, and it's been used since the early 14th century. It's not racist or bigoted. It's just a grammatically accurate term. I know it's hard to grasp etymology when you're still not really hooked on phonics, but regardless, if you weren't born here and you came here illegally, then you're an illegal alien and you're not an immigrant. Now, if you want to be called an immigrant, then there's some rules you got to follow. There's some things you have to do to become a permanent citizen. I'll give you a little example. You remember Sam Walton, the late founder of Walmart, the billionaire? Well, old Sam had another great idea with a chain of stores called Sam's Club. See, Sam's Club had everything still has everything you can imagine. You can buy it in bulk. You can get a television, you can get a massage table, you can get a diamond engagement ring, and if you like steak, you can buy the whole cow right now. You can get your truck tires and your contact lenses changed at the same time and then go buy a 10,000 count pack of hot dog weenies and a 50-gallon drum of pickle relish so you can drive over, see, and cook out for 2,500 of your closest neighbors. It is literally a consumeristic land of plenty. You can even walk up and down the aisles and sample food for free. They just give it to you. I mean, all day long. But guess what, Mr. All-Day Free Sample Buffet Man? You can't go into Sam's Club and enjoy your gluttonous privileges unless you have a membership card. They will literally stop you at the door and ask you for your membership card. If you don't have one, they'll direct you over to the counter where you can fill out the paperwork, prove you meet the membership requirements, pay a small membership fee, and they will take the ugliest picture of you ever looking like a prison mugshot in Honduras, hand you a membership card and say, "Welcome to Sam's Club, enjoy the benefits." But if you sneak in, guess what? They will ask you to leave. Racists. And if you somehow manage to sneak past the sweet little retiree with ninja reflexes and eyes in the back of her blue-haired head at the door by tunneling underground and emerging in the middle of the aisle, 7 vats of mayonnaise, tubs of pickles, and pallets of paper plates, well, maybe you can hang around for a little while and grab some free samples for a couple hours, but you still can't buy anything because you don't have a membership card. Membership's got its privileges. And it doesn't matter if you offer all the money you got. You're not shopping according to the rules of the club. And if those mean girls at the register were to allow it, then it wouldn't be a shopper's club anymore capable of offering its membership the discounts they registered and paid to receive. So here's the rub. If you want to move to America and receive the benefits of the club and get freedom, liberty, and opportunity in bulk, then you got to play by the rules and follow the registration. Now look, I know. Compassion mandates all of us, our conscience, to say that we want everyone to be in this fun and wonderful club we call America. But the question is this: who's going to pick up the bill for all the non-members and their free samples? Hey, visit me at politicalcowboy.com. Follow me on Twitter at WatchChat.
Good afternoon, Yuba Sutter. This is the Yuba Sutter Political Spotlight. And we are here live for the next 2 hours. And boy, do we have a lot to go over. Oh, man, what a week.
What a week. But I love that clip that you just played because common sense just has to start to prevail again in this country. It just has to at some point. He makes so much sense.
But that's not fair.
It's not. We got to dumb down the test. Is that what you're saying? It's not fair?
Lower that bar. That's my favorite restaurant. Sam's Club.
Sam's Club, your favorite restaurant?
Yes. I like the.
You could eat for $1.25.
Well, the grocery grazing is phenomenal.
That's a good one. I like that.
For the people who are going to listen later on the One Eye Blind YouTube that probably aren't going to get to hear that clip, what's that guy's name again? The Political Cowboy?
Political Cowboy on YouTube.
So he was talking about the fact that, people are so concerned about these illegal aliens. They don't want them to have to go through the process of, getting their legal citizenship. And he was giving a comparison to the idea of Sam's Club requiring a membership card. And, you got to go follow the rules.
We've been using that guy quite a bit. And I think I'm going to reach out to him and just give him a Facebook post and talk to him just a little bit and see if we can't use his clips on our radio show.
Yeah, get permission that we can
because we can use it on the radio show. We just can't use it on YouTube. But I'm going to see if we can't maybe talk to him and get him, because he's doing the same thing we're doing. So maybe we can get to be able to use him onto the onto the YouTube site as well, and not have to cut him out. So I'm going to reach out to him and find out if we can do that or not.
I'm sure he will.
I
More
think
exposure for him.
Exactly.
Yeah, you just provide the link and it'll be like symbiotic.
Exactly. So I'm hoping we can get that. So we'll see what we can do.
Yeah.
So that brings us right into what Bill has been barking about the last few weeks. about going to the Yuba County supervisors and the Sutter County supervisors.
And then also the
And
city of Marysville.
he's been giving Darren Gale kudos.
Oh, I got
The little fascist, he's been giving him kudos for, not you, Bill, Darren Gale, the fascist.
Yeah.
Been giving him kudos about how the city council, even though he doesn't sit on the city council, so I'm not quite sure why you're giving Darren Gale kudos, but whatever, go ahead. If you like a fascist, I mean, that's fine.
because he gave me a kiss and I had to be nice to him.
Darren said to give kudos to Yuba City and not
Yuba City.
just not be beaten on him all the
because
time.
it never got recorded, we lost that somehow. Here you go, Darren.
Here it is again.
Kudos, Yuba City. Thank you for the anti-sanctuary city resolution.
I'm glad we got that out early in the show because you got a beating coming today.
Oh, yeah. I know. That's all you
Hey.
get, too.
Stay tuned.
Fascism is fascism. That's
right.
Exactly. That's it.
You know,
Yeah.
And we're going to learn about fascism today. I think
Yes.
I'm going to play that thing. It takes about 5 minutes, but I think it was, I mean, you guys listened to it before the show. What do you think? I mean, is it worth playing?
well,
Yeah.
I think so. And also, you know, when you go to look up fascism online, they've got every imaginable definition. But the way I understand it, and I think it's going to be played out in this clip, is it is the merging of state and private enterprise working together for total control.
I like to look at it as it's more of state takeover of private enterprise, because a lot of people like Kumar aren't willing to go, and they get it force fed down their throat. So I think there's a lot of it too, to where it's force fed down people's throats of it.
Oh, there's a force feeding for sure in fascism.
And
yes.
I think there might be some cohesion there with some of the people. Whenever you get real Democrat, deep blue progressives that want to go that route.
Well, when you create the Public Utilities Commission, you can get that cooperation, right?
Well, yeah, with a little bit of arm twisting.
Yeah. So
Hey, it's for the public.
yes.
Oh, don't even get me started on who it's really
Let's
for.
just raise. Let's just raise the rates. Let's just raise the rates.
Somebody please think of the children.
So merging takeovers not the same thing.
No, merging and
Depends on who you
takeover
ask.
is not the same thing.
So
That's like all of us merged together to do this radio show. I don't put a gun to your head to come to the radio show every day.
That the people can see.
Yes.
That's why it's radio.
that's live radio.
So yeah, let's hear that clip.
I think that's on the schedule a little bit down the
that's
ways.
down the road.
Okay.
and-
That's
and-
down the road. The first up.
I'm just a monkey in the box. I'll play whatever. they play.
Keep turning that grinding wheel, would you?
Okay.
We wanted to recap some of what we did last week, and one of the topics we covered was what Bill had been visiting the local jurisdictions about the anti-sanctuary city resolutions, trying to compel them to pass one. Did you want to give any further update, or do you want to go up to the next recap?
Well, let's, if you want to find out, look at eterritorial.com Monday afternoon. There should be a letter to the editor in there. I think it says everything that our local governments that haven't stepped up yet because of their fear of Jerry Brown or whatever. I don't know. Oops. Uh-oh.
Oh,
It's
I
the
think
president.
that's Tom. I think that's Tom. I think that was Tom.
That was me, man, and I don't take
Was it
no
Mr.
calls
Trump?
like this.
Jerry's calling in.
Yeah, anyway, I've been after them all, and I wish more people would stand up in front of these guys and ask them why they haven't issued one, why they haven't been true to their oath of office. The federal government takes precedent in this area, despite what any of the county or city councils may tell you, because the Constitution isn't that hard to read, boys, and if you took an oath to it, you should damn well know what it says.
We're trying. to
Yeah,
get
well,
that
we're
word out
trying to
there.
push it on them.
So you'll have to
but-
put a link on the Yuba Sutter political spotlight page to that territorial
Oh,
when
yeah,
it gets
yeah,
posted.
yeah.
Okay. You ready to move on, or?
Well, we were going to start with the
I know we swapped
big
it.
elephant in
We
the room.
swapped it because we had that clip to follow up. So now another. So last week we also touched on the grand jury situation and the lack of a published report. So the first thing we want to do, because we've been talking about the grand jury report, and I thought it was the big talk of the town. I was really shocked when I finally ventured out of my house for anything other than church and a meeting. I went to my hairdresser's, and she'd never heard of the grand jury report and the controversy surrounding it, and the fact that there's no grand jury report posted this year.
That's a bad sign when your
Yeah.
It is.
hairdresser doesn't know.
Yeah, and then I ventured over to City Hall because I had to get Jason out of Hawk and pay for his citation for fireworks.
Thank you, honey.
You're welcome.
We'll talk about that later, too,
Yeah.
I bet.
I got a
Yes.
kangaroo
Pyro.
court coming up that I got to go to.
Yeah, so
Criminal.
I went over to the city and I said, hey, I heard you guys were really hurting for some money, so I thought I'd come over and give you guys a donation, just helping out my community. So I did that, and the people that I talked to there had never heard of the grand jury report controversy. So I guess I'm not getting out of the house enough. I need to get fully recovered so I can venture out more and apparently spread the word, because we need to really
This is
get
crazy.
this out
Yes.
Maybe we should run a billboard.
that is a possibility, and we could do that. So
That
might be the
maybe
next
it's
step.
because football season started or something that nobody's
Yeah.
paying attention.
Tammy's a hairdresser. She's a quarterback in her spare time.
actually, my hairdresser is very well informed, and it's partly due to me, I would hope. Anyway, we want to better educate our citizenry here. And we thought we'd first back up and let's kind of get a little bit of a foundation of what a civil grand jury is, what it represents. So I'm here at courts.ca.gov. This is the California Courts, the Judicial Branch of California's webpage. And I am at their page entitled Civil Grand Jury. And so they have here, in describing the civil grand jury, they said every year in each of California's 58 counties, a group of ordinary citizens takes an oath to serve as grand jurors. Its function is to investigate the operations of the various officers, departments, and agencies of local government. Each civil grand jury determines which officers, departments, and agencies it will investigate during its term of office. So they've also provided here answers to a number of questions about the civil grand jury. And we're each going to take a section of this and try to get this education out there. My first topic is, what is a county grand jury? So in California, the grand jury system consists of, did I just read that?
No, you did not.
No, you-
Okay. It sounds like I just read it.
It had
Okay.
a little bit of it.
So we already talked about it has 58 separate grand juries. So Sutter County is one of the 58 grand juries. One in each county, covered that are convened on an annual basis by the Superior Court to carry out three functions. So these are the three functions of our Sutter County grand jury. Investigating and reporting on the operations of local government, which is known as the watchdog function, a civil rather than criminal function. So this is our only method of having any oversight over our local offices and electeds.
Because they certainly wouldn't do anything criminal.
Heaven forbid. We should hope not.
They wouldn't be having sex at the river bottoms.
or other places.
No, they have a building for that.
Yeah. Well,
Okay. Moving on. That was number one. Okay, the next point of their three functions is issuing criminal indictments to require defendants to go to trial on felony charges. Okay, that's number two. Then their third function is investigating allegations of a public official's corrupt or willful misconduct in office, and when warranted, filing an accusation against that official to remove him or her from office. The accusation process is considered to be a quasi-criminal in nature. So those are their functions, and apparently, if they're very adept at these functions, then their report gets buried.
Apparently, yeah.
Truth. You can't handle the truth.
But if they don't get too critical of the people that they're investigating, and they find some blight in there, and
They find some building that needs painting or something.
Yeah.
They'll get that out.
yeah, so they'll get those things out. But if you actually find some corruption or some willful misconduct, well, now we just have to bury that report, and it can't go anywhere. So what kind of a citizen watchdog agency is that?
It's one with no teeth and
Apparently.
no bark.
Yes. All right. I'll move on. Randy can take it from here.
What does a grand jury do? With regard to its watchdog authority, the grand jury is well suited to the effective investigation of local governments because it is an independent body, operationally separate from the entities and officials it investigates. It conducts its investigations under the auspices of the Superior Court and has broad access to public officials, employees, records, and information. The grand jury's fact-finding efforts result in written reports which contain specific recommendations aimed at identifying problems and offering recommendations for improving government operations and enhancing responsiveness. In this way, the grand jury acts as a representative of county residents in promoting government accountability.
They put you in jail
Jace, they
right
do.
away.
In some counties, the regular grand jury issues indictments. In others, the Superior Court, at the request of the district attorney, impanels a separate criminal grand jury to hear evidence in support of an indictment. Accusations, which are also filed and taken to trial by the district attorney, are filed infrequently. Overall, grand juries throughout the state spend considerably more time on investigating and reporting on local government operations than they do on criminal matters. The CGJA, which is the California Grand Jury Association, I believe, does not get involved in any criminal indictment matters. However, the penal code requires the grand jury to inquire into the condition and management of the detention facilities within the county, investigate and report on the operations, accounts and records of county and other public agencies, officers, departments, or functions. Inquire into the willful or corrupt misconduct in office of public officers and submit a final report of its findings and recommendations no later than the end of its term to the presiding judge of the Superior Court.
I've been in the right place, but it must have been the wrong time.
The local governmental entity to which a report is directed is required to answer both the findings and recommendations in writing and within a specified period of time after the assurance of the final report, 60 days of official or agency heads, 90 days for governing bodies.
Okay.
So that's the function of the grand
Yeah,
jury.
what does a grand jury do?
Well,
Now, but
Okay, and I'm going to go on to Section 3, but I just want to throw this little piece in here from the Fifth Amendment to the Constitution, which is the supreme law of the land. It says, no person shall be held to answer for a capital or otherwise infamous crime unless on a presentment or indictment of a grand jury. So it seems to me like they've bypassed that.
yes.
And they've neglected their duty. They've transferred the duty from the grand jury to the district attorney.
That may present a problem in Sutter County.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I mean, that's the Fifth Amendment.
And the other
I
thing.
hold that in higher regard.
So the Constitution talks about that just in that segment about the grand jury or about, but what it doesn't say is who makes up that grand jury. And the reason is because in that document, if it's not specifically delegated to the federal government, if it's not, assigned in there, then it resides with the people. So it's retained by the people. So that means that grand jury that it's talking about is of the people. The people make up that.
Sure.
It's in our realm of operation.
Well, that sounds just like common sense to me.
Yeah, it is.
Okay, so I'm going to go on to 3, and it says, how does a grand jury operate? As a truly independent body, each grand jury is free to choose which local government entities or public officials to investigate. With very limited exceptions, no one outside the grand jury can direct it to conduct an investigation. Ideals for investigations generally come by way of 3 avenues: citizen complaints, matters raised by the members of the grand jury, and referrals from the preceding grand jury. During its investigations, the grand jury acts as a finder of fact. In addition to determining if the official or entity under investigation is adhering to the laws that govern the operations of that entity. The jury analyzes whether the entity is operating in a business-like manner and providing public services effectively and economically. Wow. While it has no authority to order or otherwise compel compliance with its recommendations, it is through its reports that the grand jury wields its power.
Yes,
Yeah, well, we have no power in Sutter County.
because we can't have a report.
So Section 4 is titled, What Gives the Grand Jury Authority? And the grand juries here in California have existed since 1849-50 when the original Constitution was written. It's in Section 23, Article 1 of the California State Constitution. It requires that a grand jury be drawn and summoned at least once a year in each county. And this constitutional mandate is supported by statutory provisions found in the following, and it's sections 888 through 939. And if I think I put a post on the political spotlight where it outlined all of these in order. Many of the statutory provisions relative to the grand jury have been reviewed and interpreted by the California Supreme Court and the Court of Appeals. The written opinions known as case law clarify the powers and duties of the grand jury. Because of the complexity of state law, the legislature has provided legal assistance for each county grand jury. And the legal assistants are a judge of the Superior Court, the district attorney, the county council. Those two may be problematic. And the state attorney general under certain circumstances. We can only pray that maybe Becerra's got this in his hands. In addition, the law requires the Superior Court to ensure that each incoming grand jury receives training to help it understand these laws. This training also provides practical advice on conducting watchdog investigations and writing grand jury reports. Most grand juries are given local orientation program in addition to attending training provided by the California Grand Jury Association.
Yep. I saw a big problem with that list that you read about.
Yeah.
About the legal assistance that's provided
There's
to each
only
grand
4
jury.
of them.
There's only 4 sources of legal assistance. One is the judge of the Superior Court, which is Judge Aronson.
Well, there may be a lot of problems.
That's one problem. Okay, so Judge Aronson's saying, nope, you can't have a report
No comment.
because I don't like what's in your report. So there's the first problem. Then the district attorney is another source of legal assistance, and unfortunately, the district attorney was the
Pages 25 through 127 or something.
So there's a huge problem there. And then you look to the county council.
Pages 5, 6, and 7.
So we have a problem, people. We have a problem. So your only other source of legal assistance falls to the state attorney general. That's where we're at.
God help us.
Oh boy.
Yeah. Big problems, right? Okay, so
Well, it sounds to me like the deck has been stacked. See,
in our county it has.
well, I think probably statewide too, and probably nationwide, because I would like to dig into the how things were arranged back in the day. You know what I mean? In the early days of the United States of America, before so much corruption had entered in.
Yes.
I mean, so this is similar to me that when the police, take a guy and they shoot him, kill him for camping or something along that line, illegal camping, that they have other police officers investigate him. Or like Lavoy Finicum, they set up an ambush, they murdered him, and then they have their
own internal investigation.
Yeah, or then they hire another police agency to look over it.
Yeah.
Another member of the club is going to look over the situation.
Right.
I don't think the average guy thinks that is very legit.
Right.
So
therein lies the problem. That's why you really need to pay attention to who you're electing to office and make sure they're people of integrity. So then
I think the Blues Brothers just walked in the door.
That's what it looks like. We have a visitor. That's what it looks like.
That's Mike.
Okay. So there you have it. And let's really spell it out, folks, for the people who really are honestly in the dark about this whole thing. Let's really explain this. So what happened was we had a grand jury report that was presented by our grand jury, and it contained 166 pages presented to their oversight or their legal assistance, which was the Superior Court Judge Aronson.
And that's not even our opinion. That's fact, correct?
Yes, that's
Okay, that's fact.
166 page report. So presented to Judge Aronson. So he is one of the listed sources of legal assistance to this, and he's the one telling him, no, I don't like the way you've done your report. You're going to have to change it.
And he's the one telling us no comment.
Yes. And so then we go down to the district attorney, who you're also supposed to be able to go to for legal assistance. And the problem we have there, Amanda Hopper's our district attorney. And state the problem again, Bill? What's the problem?
Pages 25 through 127.
Yes. Of
That's
that
our opinion.
166 page report.
That's our opinion.
That's our
Allegedly,
opinion.
allegedly, those pages contain
Discriminating
allegations.
remarks?
Yeah.
we don't know.
We don't know
We have no
because we
idea.
can't see
We
the
don't
report.
know what we're supposed to know.
But we've been told that's what the topic is of those pages. So there is a huge problem there, people. Is this getting clearer? Okay, so then we have number 3, which is the county council, which is Jean Jordan, and she's supposed to be another
Allegedly.
source. No, that's fact. Okay,
No. Allegedly, she's
okay,
pages
allegedly
what?
she's pages 5 through 25.
5 through 7, 5, 6, and 7.
Oh, 5, 6, and 7.
Five,
That's right.
six, and
5,
seven.
6, and 7.
So
It
she's
was
only
only a
3
small
full
line.
pages.
Yeah. So therein lies the problem. We're trying to put the picture together for the folks who honestly have not gotten this laid out to them and understand why this is such a huge problem.
And understand, this is an investigation into your local government and their entities.
Yeah. So I'm going to go ahead and read the last section we have, which is who serves on the civil grand jury, because we're going to finish our education and then we'll go on to some other comments. But so who serves on the grand jury? Civic-minded citizens who have chosen to give back to their communities by collaborating with a diverse group of like-minded persons over a 1-year period to evaluate the operations of local governmental entities and the conduct of public officials, and to develop practical, innovative recommendations for improving government operations. Grand jurors are agents of change in their communities. They come from all walks of life. They bring with them a broad range of interests, talents, and life experiences, but they share a dedication to democratic ideals, and a willingness to devote their time and energies to matters of civic importance. Drawing from the life experiences of these citizens, a grand jury is a short-lived, representative, non-political body of citizens functioning without hope of personal aggrandizement. It comes from the citizens at large and soon disappears into its anonymity without individual recognition or personal reward. And that was a quote according to Noah Weinstein and William J. Shaw in Grand Jury Reports, A Safeguard of Democracy. That was published in 1962. That is also given on the website as information. So there we have it. So there is a process of how this is supposed to work. So allegedly, if there were some accusations made within that report, according to, where am I at now? California Legislative Information, legalinfo.legislature.ca.gov. I'm looking at Article 3, Section 3062. It says the accusation shall be delivered by the foreman of the grand jury to the district attorney of the county, comma, unless he is the officer accused. So I've read this and it doesn't answer the question, well, what do you do when it's the officer officer accused? What do you do in that case?
You hide the pages.
They don't give an alternative.
They don't. I've read through these sections. It doesn't. So I'm assuming it must divert to the state attorney general. It's not spelled out.
Well, then we have the perfect
I've
storm
looked.
because we got collusion between all of them. So just squash the
Yeah.
report, apparently.
Well,
Yeah.
maybe we should contact the Attorney General's office and see if anything's been forwarded to him from Sutter County authorities.
And I've heard
assistance.
that's another problem is because so many things have been forwarded from Sutter County to the state attorney general that it's kind of been like,
They lost count?
yes, like the boy who cried wolf. It's like, come on already, people. There's so much going on in your county. Give it a rest.
You know, each one of those grand jurors attends a 2-day school in Sacramento.
Indoctrination.
Yeah. Well, they got to learn the rules and how to write them. And apparently, according to our local assistants, 18 of them were too stupid to understand it. But I don't believe that for a minute.
Well, I found another article on the internet, and it was an article posted in the Northern Colorado Gazette. Don't ask me why I'm going to a Colorado Gazette. I am only because they quoted this guy. He's an author of a book called Citizen Power Now, and the author of that book is Hal von Lubert. He made some very articulate points about the function of a civil grand jury. Now, in this article, they were talking specifically about the U.S., the federal level grand jury, but they're relevant points to even a state level or county level grand jury. So I wanted to pull out of this article. Okay, this is a quote from this guy, again, author of Citizen Power Now. He says, our elected officials have lost the vision of our forefathers. The Bill of Rights is still the supreme law of our land, and that law provides for indictment only by a grand jury composed of common people. That law provides for conviction only by a petite jury, which is a jury of your peers. Think about it, he said. When you go to a trial, the charges are brought by the people. The jury decides whether you are innocent or guilty, not the judge. So the judge shouldn't be saying, well, you can't have those allegations or opinions in your report. He's not deciding, it's the people. It goes on to say, the jury does not have to follow the law. In fact, the jury can ignore the law and set free an obviously guilty person if they want. The jury is the final word, not the judge, not the prosecutors. The power to create freedom belongs to the jury. And who are the jury? It's the people.
It's the people. That's
Jury nullification is what you're talking about, right?
I'm talking about the power is with the people.
Yes.
And all we need to do is assert it, okay? Do you remember that movie, It's a Bug's Life? And as soon as the ants realized they outnumbered the grasshoppers, do you know?
I
people,
haven't
we
seen the movie,
outnumber
but I
grasshoppers.
think I get the picture.
Yes. The power resides with the people. If people would understand that,
Yes.
we wouldn't be in this position.
Right. So, like I believe, this thing that we just read through is formed and fashioned in today's language and with today's, slant. Okay. and it's probably skipped over the original intent.
Yes.
That's what I believe.
Yes.
You know, and when it comes to the jury, I've been reading, trying to read up about the jury and stay abreast of that over the past few years, and did a little bit more this weekend. But the jury is to be people that are not necessarily not acquainted with you, or not acquainted with a trade. Say there's some kind of civil dispute. You would have contractor. Say you had a contractor on trial, then other contractors would have a better idea. Would be more of a peer.
Would be
to
his
that.
peers.
Yes.
Yes.
To look over the situation, and people that actually know the defendant. See, so they've perverted that, in my opinion, too, because they want to disqualify anybody that knows the defendant.
So that means that I might get judged by Stan, the sheetrock man.
Stinky.
Yeah,
You could be.
Oh my.
Oh, that'd be bad.
If he's on
Well,
the
stop
jury.
making so many enemies. You won't have that problem.
We'll have to make sure.
Oh, well.
We'll have to make sure it's public, and we'll go videotape it.
You're just a big old bully,
I know. You got to be something. It comes back to, like I said last week, if it's secret, it's in government, it ain't good. Government's supposed to be transparent, and if they're hiding it or holding it back from the people, you can bet there's a reason why.
Yeah, the only reason that they're hiding that is because
they're always out glad-handing, and they're always looking for a pat on the back. If it was good, they'd have it out there, shove it in everybody's face, making you sick. That, look at what we did, look at what we did, look at what we did. You can bet if they're hiding it and sitting on it, there's a reason why. It makes them look bad. Plain and simple.
we can't have that.
No.
Yeah.
In a form and fashion, we are acting as a grand jury right now.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, we are.
Yes.
Yeah.
Those of us that.
A citizen's watchdog.
Yes.
Here's the
Yes.
facts. Do what you will with it, but here they are. This is what we're laying it out is. Here's what happened. Do what you want with it.
Well, I got some things that just aren't quite facts, but
Well,
but there is a lot of scuttlebutt out there.
exactly. And I mean, let's get to the bottom of it. Let's say that.
Well, the people that are in public employment and that are elected, they're banking on the fact that the general population turns a blind eye to everything they're doing.
Or is ignorant.
Yes. So that is pretty much
Apathetic.
Carte blanche. Do whatever you want.
I have another source because I think this is really important. Let's get educated first. Let's know what we're dealing with. So I also went to the California Grand Jury Association website. It's cgjA.org, and they have a really good question and answer segment that I want to go through a few of these because I have very relevant questions regarding our specific situation to that we can have further discussion. But first, we were talking about the people's role in the way this government is supposed to work and the way our republic is supposed to work. This is a quote from James Madison. It kind of lays out the balance of power here. James Madison said, "In framing a government which is to be administered by men over men, the great difficulty lies in this. You must first enable the government to control the governed, and then in the next place oblige it to control itself. A dependence on the people is the primary control on the government." So the people have to be watchdogs.
Yes.
We have to be vigilant, and we need to be all working to keep our government in check. So, and understand that.
Yeah. Now, earlier you said when you were reading, and I couldn't find it again, but he said ordinary citizens are impaneled. Okay. So, ordinary citizens back in the day were pretty well informed, citizens, and they knew their Bill of Rights and on and on and on. Well, we don't have that as much today.
Right. That's what one of our goals we're trying to change.
Yes.
Jason says we have 1 minute because then he wants to do something.
Well, they get all their info.
We got to take a break real quick.
Okay.
I gotta play this ad real fast.
Okay.
We'll be right back.
Mom thinks I'm a baby, so I can't walk to school sometimes. And also, she thinks I need protective gear when I need to ride a bike.
You probably do. I think I agree with your mom.
I know how to ride a bike already, even without protective gear.
Brandon Barnes to be your next Sutter County Sheriff. I've worked with Captain Barnes for over 20 years. Brandon is a graduate of the prestigious FBI National Academy. He was our former SWAT commander and chief of investigations and now holds one of the highest positions in law enforcement as jail commander. He leads and manages a staff of over 80 personnel and an inmate population of almost 400. Folks, your sheriff is the top law enforcement officer in the county. Experience and character are critical. That's why 13 active California county sheriffs, including myself, endorse him. I am beyond confident that Captain Barnes has the skills, the temperament, and the vision to lead Sutter County. I believe this is the most important vote on your ballot. I encourage you to vote Brandon Barnes for Sutter County Sheriff.
Paid for by Brandon Barnes for Sutter County Sheriff 2018.
I'm pretty sure that's the way a lot of us feel, that that's our most important ballot spot on our ballot this year.
Mm-hmm.
And I think we're going to get a good one out of it. I think Brandon will be just fine.
Yeah. Very, very suitable for county sheriff.
As long as we keep an eye on him.
Oh, yeah. We'll do that.
Keep an eye on everybody.
Yes.
All right. Let me try to go through a few of these questions and answers. And let's take our whole first hour, but that's okay because this is important. This is an important topic, the civil grand jury, because we're just starting. Okay, this is only the beginning. So
get used to it.
But we're here to provide this background foundation to get us going, so that more people can get on board and understand what we're up against and how we can deal with this. So. Going back to the California Grand Jury Association website, I'm in their question and answers section of their webpage. It says, question one, or not question one, but a question. What should the grand jury do with its confidential records and documents at the end of its term? Good question.
Good question.
This is the answer. The grand jury, on a supermajority vote, may pass to the succeeding grand jury confidential records and documents related to one or more of the jury's civil investigations. This is usually done because the jury did not have time to complete an investigation on that topic. While the penal code does not mention records retention or destruction, we recommend that except for records passed to the next jury, confidential documents ordinarily be shredded at the end of the term. Well, hold that thought, people. Keep that in
mind.
However, if there is a concern about the possibility of a defamation lawsuit, the documents related to that investigation should be given to the grand jury's legal advisor, who may need them for the jury's defense. Keep that thought in mind if suit is filed. Grand juries should consult with their legal advisors, we read who those were, about document management and should consider adding a document management policy to their procedures manuals. So, number of questions. Okay. This implies that the grand jury's legal advisor, who we were told one of those is Judge Aronson, is to represent the jury in a defense of a defamation lawsuit. This brings up another allegation that was made. So again, not fact yet because no one's produced this alleged letter that came from pages 5, 6, and 7, who we've learned is County Counsel Gene Jordan, to the members of the grand jury that stated,
but to Gene Jordan from pages 26.
Okay, no, but we're going to talk. So the content of that letter from County Counsel Gene Jordan, who's supposed to be one of these grand jurors' advisors, she said if they were to publish allegedly in this letter that we've not seen yet, allegedly, told the grand jurors if they were to publish that report that they would not be represented by the county, and also further threatened that they would be sued by pages 25 through 105. What was it, Bill?
Yeah.
Which is our
A whole lot.
DA.
Yeah.
Okay, so she allegedly in this alleged letter stated that the county would not represent him and that they would be sued. So there we have some intimidation.
Ever feel like you're in Oz?
Yeah, we do. What other thoughts did we were told to hold and when we read that? Oh, I know. Were all the grand jury documents / reports provided to Judge Aronson, and has he retained them in the event he needs them for the jury's defense if a suit is filed?
Well, I heard there was a shred party.
Yes.
And they were forced into it, 18 people with their notes and...
Yes, that is another alleged happening that we've been told, and we'd really love to start getting this all documented and start working with these individuals. But, we're in a very tender situation right now.
Those people are scared.
They
and
are.
I don't blame them. I understand that. But at some point, the correct thing to do, the virtuous thing to do, the moral thing to do is to step up and be counted.
And what we're doing here is we're bolstering their support. We're getting the word out. We're explaining what the situation is, what the this is a heavy situation. This is not a little light, tiny little thing that's going on. This is huge, and we need to get more citizen support for these people because we will stand behind them, and we're getting that. That's why I'm saying this is the beginning, and it's kind of like a snowball rolling down the hill. We're really gaining traction. We're getting a lot of attention, and that's going to be what's going to invoke some change in this situation.
Personally, I'm learning some things from you guys speaking right now, okay? But I'm of the belief that this is probably far more common across the United States than we would want to believe.
Yeah, it may be common or far more common than we think, but it doesn't belong in our county. It doesn't belong in our district.
This is where we live.
Yeah.
Now, I also want to recommend that you gave a couple websites that you were looking at, Tammy.
Yeah.
Okay, but there's one called the FIJA.com. So it stands for Fully Informed Jury Association. So FIJA.com has a lot of good information on the jury.
Excellent. Yeah. Few more questions and answers that we can bring into relevance in our situation. Another thing that was mentioned there is that there is that option that they can pass along their investigative documents to the succeeding grand jury. And another question I would have is, was that done?
Yeah, well, I think it referred to civil documents, didn't it? Civil investigation.
No.
Or was it criminal? Or both?
Both. Any. It just says that, they can pretty much pass along anything that is maybe unresolved or still in the balance or still being investigated. Now, further down, it does explain that the new grand jury can't rely specifically or wholly on what it was given. It has to do its own investigation, which is fine, but they should be at least given a bouncing point or, to launch their own investigation.
And then they can shred all their stuff at the end of their term too. Huh? I mean, it seems to me like a good program to keep the ball rolling and never have any accountability.
That's right.
That's what it seems like.
Well,
to me.
and this is the first time, so they're on sketchy ground right now. But you can bet if they get away with it this time, next time it's only going to get easier.
Oh, yeah.
We've done this before.
Have we heard any of the supervisors speak out about this? They got what, 20 pages, 20 plus pages of incidentals. I'll call them incidentals. No meat.
Yeah.
Just potatoes.
If they have, it hasn't been loud enough
for anybody to hear.
Yeah, because I'm I'm not aware of it. I know of private conversations that have happened between current supervisors and citizens, but I'm not aware of public outspeak. Some of the candidates are getting on board, which is good. I wish they would. I wish more would. Everybody needs to be on board with this. This needs to be the talk of the town, and we will not stop talking about it. It's one of those things where, guess what? We're going to keep bringing it up. It's not going away.
Why should we not? I mean, we have freedom of speech.
We have questions, and we need answers. Speaking of questions, here's another question from their website. Is there a statutory requirement that grand juries keep or store their reports and the responses received in any particular location or for any particular length of time? The answer is yes. The grand jury must maintain a copy of each report and all the responses it receives for a minimum of 5 years. Exactly where the reports and responses must be stored is not specified, but we recommend that hard copies be kept any place readily accessible to the jury for research purposes. They should also be posted on the grand jury's website. We believe that posting the reports and responses on the website for 5 years meets the requirement of Penal Code Section 933. So is the grand jury report and supporting documents, are they being stored according to this Penal Code 933? Because
not online.
Not online, definitely.
No report this year is what I read when I went to look.
And I believe the reason why it's not posted is because all 18 of those grand jurors refused to sign that report because they altered it so much it was not what they presented. It was not
their report
Wasn't their report anymore. Yeah. So it didn't get signed for that reason.
And this has never happened before where there's been no report?
No.
This is the very first time?
Mm-hmm. Yep. So we're getting the little 1 minute.
So you got 1 minute.
Oh, okay. So, and there we go. And, I also have a question. Did the grand jury give Judge Aronson a copy of their 106? Oh, okay. No, sorry. That was a statement.
There's been 2 letters of preservation sent out, I believe.
Is that before or after the shred party?
Well, yeah. Well, I think the shred party was hopefully just the notes.
Well, we'll see. But another thing I found out.
That's a rumor, huh? That there was a shred party.
Yeah, allegedly. Yep. Yeah. But another thing I found out is the grand jury actually is not required to have their draft reports reviewed by the judge. That's an option. And in this case, our grand jury did present the Judge Aronson with a 166-page report. They didn't have to. So that's another thing that I found through this research.
How does a person get on the grand jury? That's a good question.
It is.
And keep that thought. We'll be right back.
Yes.
John ketchup. But you know what? And some of the stuff that I was listening to this week really got me thinking is, guys, you think about this, that is the first job is kids learning about the job, learning to tuck in their shirt, learning to tie their shoes, learning to get their butt there on time.
Yeah.
Learning that you may not be leaving on time because somebody may not show up. Your buddy may not show up for his shift, so you may be working his shift, and you learn to beat up on that guy.
Learning your work ethic. You're developing your work ethic.
Exactly, and take it one step further. If we don't have that, we already have a generation who thinks they should be handed everything. Now, it was put like this. It was put to me this way, and it's really scary when you think about it. We're only at the first wave of this generation who's been handed everything. That they got the participation trophy for participating. So they were all on the soccer team, they all got a trophy. They were all on the football team, they all got a trophy. We haven't even got to the ones who didn't want to be on the team that want the trophy. We haven't even got there yet. Yeah. We're at the very beginning of this problem that we're all going to have to face. And if you look down the road further to where the kid doesn't even want to get off the couch, but he wants to get his trophy, whoa, it's going to get ugly before it gets any better.
That's what they got automation for.
Yeah. And but I mean, it's scary because if it's like that ad said, and you knock those bottom rungs off that ladder, the kids are too lazy to step to the first rung. How are they going to step up to the third?
Yeah.
It ain't going to happen.
Yeah.
So it's really scary whenever you start going down that rabbit hole. I don't want to talk a lot about it, but I wanted to throw that out there because, and like you, Tom, I really took notion to you that you got a skill, and you started your business with your skill.
Yes, I do.
And that's something that everybody seems to be forgetting.
And you know what? I can tie my shoes before I get to work. I had 3 guys come in one morning this week with their shoes untied.
Wow.
Okay. Prior to that, we had to part company with this mama's boy, but his mom drove him to work every day, and he wore his slippers to work. Okay. Then he finally put his shoes on my
On your time.
Yeah. Okay.
Wow.
So what? I think that was Mike Rowe speaking, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. From Dirty Job.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's nailed it, man.
Yeah.
He nailed it.
And it's really interesting to see. But the more I get into this radio show, and the more I get to looking around, like I said, we haven't even seen the bad wave. We're seeing the beginning wave of these kids. We haven't got to the lazy ass ones yet. We're still just at the lazy. I mean, give it another couple of years, folks, and you're going to see something that you ain't ever seen before.
They all work at Home Depot.
No, I'll bet you the next.
everywhere.
I'll bet you the next ones don't even work.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, I've got a youngster right now, and I'm proud of him. He does a good job. Whenever you can get him motivated to do something, but he's telling me right now the same old song and dance for the whole summer that he can't find a job. Okay, something's wrong because everywhere I go, I mean, every store I go into, every place I eat, everything I do, there's a help wanted sign on the front right now.
Yes.
If you can't find a job, then you ain't answering the questions right, son.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're deluded, my friend, because you're telling yourself you can't find a job.
And he's about ready to get a rude awakening because he thinks he's going to go to a private school and going to have a free ride again this year. I can tell you, he's going to be riding his bike to that private school. He ain't going to be driving. He's 18. Well, going to be, he's 18. It's his senior year. Guess what? I hope riding a bike looks good, buddy, because that's what's going to happen. And he keeps messing with me thinking that it won't happen. And he's going to get really, really shocked whenever he doesn't think that I'll make him ride 3 or 4 miles to school on a bicycle.
3 or 4 miles, that ain't nothing.
Exactly. I know. Well, I rode 6 miles to my first job on a bicycle.
I walked 30 miles to school, uphill both ways in the snow.
Barefooted in glass. Yeah.
See, I'm not there yet. I didn't do that. I'm not a grandpa
But that's the best thing you can do. That's the best thing you can do.
Let's wind up the grand jury thing and then
okay. Sorry.
Okay. Okay. So the question was asked: How do you get a spot on the grand jury? How do you become a grand juror? If I can wake up my screen, come on, I had it ready to go. And then it went to sleep.
Hagerman says best show yet.
Awesome.
Hey, we got people all over nationwide.
Okay, so now I'm at SutterCourts.com.
Is on your side.
SutterCourts.com. How can I serve? How can I serve on a grand jury? For those who wish to serve their community, you may apply to serve as a grand juror if you are in good health, are open-minded, work well with others. Oh, I guess we're not qualified. And have an interest in community affairs. Those with
there you go. If you're open-minded, if you'll let a judge shred or a county clerk shred your stuff and not worry about it, then you can be on a grand jury.
That's what it means to be open-minded.
There it is.
If you don't mind spending an entire year of your life dedicated to the business of investigating your public officials, public servants, and only for that whole report to be thrown out because you found too much, then there you go. You're open-minded and you can serve. But each spring, Superior Court judges nominate 30 prospective grand jurors from the list of applicants. So you can go apply to the county to be a grand jury, apply to Sutter County Courts, and then the judge then, I guess, reviews those applications and nominates 30 prospective grand jurors, equally divided among the county's supervisory districts.
We're going to have to wrap this up and get back to it next week. We're going to be an hour 15 into this thing.
Okay. Bill maybe wanted to
There's just a
bring up
couple more
a couple points that were texted in, emailed in.
Okay.
Shred party was a fact. Okay.
Well, but we don't.
Allegedly original was given to Aronson for review. First rejection took 133-ish pages and was given back 2 more times till they resigned 2 days prior to it being due. Now, the grand jurors resigned in protest. That has to tell you people out there something.
Yep.
Something is stinking, smelling bad. From what I understand, Hopper, Jordan, and Harrison all have the original, and another department head may have read it, the original.
Well, I got to hand it to the grand jury that resigned.
They had the fortitude
to
and
say,
the
hey,
wherewithal to do that.
we're fed up with this.
Yeah.
They said, that resignation says a lot, doesn't it?
It says
my chair almost fell off, broke.
What was that?
I don't know. I thought I was going to be catapulted through that window.
I thought you were coming in here with me there for a minute, buddy.
That was one handful too much of popcorn. You've reached your limit.
Jeez.
Okay, well, that's we'll get back to grand jury sometime in the future.
Okay,
well, I'm thinking next week. I
Every
think this
show.
thing is going to be going for a little while.
Every show.
So, just a little notification to Yuba and Sutter counties. It's my understanding there will be some ordinances put forth for the commercial growing of marijuana in the counties, and that several of in Yuba County, at least 3 of the newly elected supervisors are going to vote for it. And in Sutter County, 2 of the old supervisors are going to vote for it. I don't know where it's going to go.
So, what are they saying with an ordinance? They're going to put forth an ordinance to allow it?
To allow it, yes.
So, are they actually going to be getting in the business of drugs, or are they going to be just allowing it to go on?
Hey, there it is. We got to tax it.
Exactly.
If they're taxing it, then they're in the business of dealing drugs.
Dealing drugs. Call it what it is.
Yes. Let's call a fascist a fascist. Let's call a drug dealer a drug dealer. That's right.
I agree with that totally.
Hey, Thomas, you know that the old courthouse there on Sutter Street?
Yes.
They don't use that upstairs anymore for...
Not for official reasons.
Well, not for official reasons, but I hear there's a great view up there.
I'm looking for an office in town. Could I rent one of those offices out?
I think they only rent them by the hour.
Okay. Never mind.
And you're not allowed unless I'm coming too.
Now, that made me scratch my head. Bill.
What do you mean by the hour? That sounds like a motel, no-tell type thing.
That does sound like a motel, no-tell thing. Huh? I just wonder if it's open to the public. If we can. Do they have viewing booths up there? Or?
I don't know. Huh.
No telling. Nothing
I
to
hadn't
see
heard
here.
about that.
Okay, so what topic are we on, my friend?
You want to talk about the interview?
Yeah, let's go on to new topics. And our first topic is actually not the 5 of us. The 5 of us were, but it ended up being 3 of us because 2 of us couldn't show up. So the Yuba Sutter Political Spotlight sat down to interview Dave Shaw to get a little bit more feel of where he's coming from and what he has in mind.
First, I don't want to name names and I don't want to get really big into it, but I want to thank everybody who has helped out the Political Spotlight with giving us offices to use, with giving us boardrooms to use for these interviews. Mm-hmm. I mean, the citizens of Yuba and Sutter County are really starting to get on board with the Yuba Sutter Political Spotlight. And we really appreciate you giving us these areas to go and do this and do these interviews and work with us as much as you have. And the support is unbelievable. So thank you guys very, very much. We'll get into naming names later on, but right now I just want to say that because, we couldn't do it without you guys.
Yeah.
And that's why we're willing to go out on a limb and throw the truth out there every week and let you guys know what's going down.
Yes.
Is because you guys are backing us and helping us so much with whatever you can that we really appreciate that from Yuba and Sutter counties. It's awesome. So
Yes.
thank you guys.
We were loaned the use of a very professional conference room in a professional office, and it just adds to your credibility when you don't have to meet someone at the Starbucks or it elevates that level of credibility.
Exactly. We couldn't do it without the residents of Yuba and Sutter County.
Yeah, you just said the truth is dangerous.
And it is.
That's what you said.
That's where we live. That's where we live right now.
Yes.
Is telling the truth is a noble but dangerous item. And my dad used to always tell me, well, I can't say it on the radio what he'd exactly say, but telling the truth often gets confused with being an ass. It does.
A troublemaker type.
Yeah. Or a bully because they don't like what you're saying. Well, guess what, folks? We're here to tell the truth, all of us, and we're doing nothing but speaking the truth.
To the best of our ability.
Yep. So there it is. Anyways.
Okay, so
on
the
to
interview.
David Shaw.
Yes. So the interview with David Shaw actually went very lengthy, and I felt kind of bad for the person who was so generous to loan us the office space, but they were very gracious and said no problem. They were happy to do it. So I'm glad that wasn't too disruptive to their means. But also with Dave, you'll have to tell me what your preference is. I don't know. Is it Dave or David? He was very accommodating to spending the evening with us. It turned out to be a long interview.
Almost 2 hours.
Yeah.
We started at like 6:30 and it went past 8:30.
And so we've talked about it a little bit since. Pretty much, I think the consensus is we're pretty impressed with what we heard. I think that he comes from a very solid, stable place with a really good head on his shoulders and could really make a difference in that position with the right team at his side. So that's what we're going to be continuing to look for is we need to put together that team to where we know they're going to be working well together and they're going to be serving the citizens of this community the best.
Yes.
When Tammy said something there,
And it isn't the trash trio we're thinking of.
that I want to say, that we're putting together this team and we are going to have a team in there that we think we can work with. And it is our team. It is our team. It's the people's team
Yes.
that we're putting in this place because we have 3 seats available. That is the commanding role of the city council. It only takes 3 votes to get things done over there. So we have a real chance to unseat the go-alongs, get-alongs that are in there, the trash trio that we have in there, the trash trio.
The ones coming up
I
for
like that,
election.
the trash that's in there, the trio of them that's in there right now, that we can unroot and get out of there and get somebody in who will do what needs to be done over at our city hall.
And there's quite a list of people that are interested in this.
Yes.
Yeah.
Quite a lengthy list.
What's going to be interesting, though, is getting the right ones in there. It's going to be a little bit rough because it is going to take very low vote count to get somebody in.
A lot of them are moving along with the swamp dwellers now. It's unfortunate that they're even running, but
yeah, the swamp dwellers have picked their own and are trying to get them forward. The thing I liked about David Shaw was where I lined up with him was, he was pretty much spot on. And, to beat up on him with some of the questions, you think we ask hardball questions in the studio. Let me tell you, it was. I drilled him with a few right out of the chute, I think. And he still stood there and took it.
Yeah.
So,
and he's ready to go. He's committed. He's a businessman. I like that. He's a CPA.
Well, and he runs his own business.
Right.
So if he's Tom, you know what it takes to run your own business.
Yes.
And if you're successful at it, it takes a lot of hours and a lot of work. It isn't the regular 8 to 5 job to run your own business and make it work.
Yes, I don't have a finance manager, an assistant finance manager, a secretary, and an assistant to the secretary,
Well, you do,
and a
but
public
it's all
works
you.
director, and
But
I do all those things.
I heard somebody say one time, it's like, you didn't do that. Somebody else did that.
Yeah,
Yes.
you didn't build
Yes.
that.
He's out of office now. We don't talk about that anymore.
That was Zero Obama.
I couldn't believe they even said that. It's like, where the hell did that come from?
I know. It's amazing.
Yeah.
But it's good to hear. It was very refreshing to hear David Shaw talk, and to ask him some good questions. And I thought he did really well. I can't remember the conversation too much. It was a long day and a long afternoon, and then a long evening.
Yeah.
But
he wasn't tripped up at all by our questions. He wasn't stumped by our questions. He was very articulate in his answers, and he made sense. It came, and the questions. It's easy to answer questions when it's coming from your heart, and you're not trying to make up what you think the person's wanting to hear.
Right.
Your answers come across smooth and they make sense. When you're trying to just appease the person you're talking to, you can totally tell because what their
We've heard
answers.
a few of those. Yeah.
They throw in these little buzzwords they don't know how to use, and they don't make sense.
Preet Didball. Yeah. She fits that criteria.
Yes. I wonder what her campaign slogan's going to
And
be.
we got to weed out the ones that have a little special interest in
Please
mind.
think of the children.
Yes. It's for the children.
I believe that'll be.
children. Won't somebody please think of the children?
I think that's going to be Preet's campaign slogan right there.
Well, it was last time, so we'll probably keep that going. So anyway, overall, and we will have him onto the show. I think right now we're kind of getting our feet under us, trying to figure out who we're going to be trying to bolster in this race and kind of bring up to the top. But we'll continue to meet with these folks one-on-one. We've got a couple people on queue that we haven't contacted them yet, but will be.
Can you give an example, if your memory will do it? The one of the questions you might have asked Mr. Shaw and what his response was.
One that I asked was on unions. You know, it's a game we all play, going to the unions and asking for money and trying to get their endorsement. And would he be doing that? Now, I told him I knew that he had to go and at least give his spiel to the union, but what he thought their outcome was going to be. And he said, you know, that he would go to the unions just to get that one or two votes out of there that he thought he could get out of there for people just liking what he had to say. But he also said that he didn't really expect to get the union endorsement. And I like that he said, you know, with what I have to say, it's not going to change from here to there. So he said they probably aren't going to like me. Mm-hmm. And he said, you know, he's hoping to get something like the firefighters or something like that. But the fact is he didn't really put much faith that he would get it, especially, you know, with who he's running against, like Mark Boomgarden and things like that. But I liked it that he was and what I was looking for more out of it than anything else was reaction. And his reaction was pretty spot on when you guys think that we're there. Mm-hmm. The reaction was pretty truthful, I think, of how he looked at it. I want to go because you know what? There might be somebody who does vote for me. Mm-hmm. And they need to know where I'm coming from before we even get this thing started. And I like that about him. And his whole interview kind of went that way with being just spot on about.
He gave us answers and he explained why.
Exactly.
He gave us those answers.
Yeah.
And there's people that are union members that are not totally left wing also.
Exactly.
You know
and that's
what I
the
mean?
whole thing is I know that I got a couple of votes out of the unions from whenever I went and talked to them. I didn't get their endorsement. I didn't get their money. But I know that I got a couple of votes because whenever I was talking, you know, a few of them said, you know, you didn't get our endorsement and I feel bad about that. But the fact is I'm going to vote for you. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And so it's a very different mindset whenever you get in there, but at least you can give them your spiel. And I think it carries a lot of weight nowadays in our age and where we live and the time that we're in, is if a man will say one thing to a group of people and then you catch him on the street and he says the same thing to you one-on-one, I think people are hungry for that again. Of, you know, he isn't going to change his story whenever it's just me, and he isn't going to change his story, try and sell it to 15 or 20 people that are going to give me a little bit of money.
Right. He doesn't change the story to every different group that he goes in front of.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's something the political spotlight's trying to stop
And
anyways.
he's spoken out in front of the city council and let them in no indefinite terms know exactly where he's coming from and how he feels. And a lot of people feel the same way, that they just disregard the public. They talk down to you. I've got a friend, they won't even let him speak anymore, which I think is probably a violation in some manner or form. But they won't even let him speak anymore in front of the...
Oh, are you kidding me?
In the public comments.
Wow.
Yeah, and that probably should be a big clue to you too. If someone's being, not out in public a lot, not appearing at forums.
Yeah.
Amanda Hopper.
Yeah.
And I also talked to him about building permits, about cutting building permits, and the way, whenever you cut building permits and you promote building during Gale's job, and you promote new companies to come in, that you actually make the money off the tax revenue. He understood it being a CPA. He understood that, and he reacted to it exactly how I would have reacted of, he answered the question perfectly of, if we could give a break on some of our shovel-ready projects, if we could give a break on some of the housing impact fees. Because the thing I told him is, it costs the same amount to build a house in Yuba City as it does in Roseville or Sacramento. But the problem is for the permits.
The income's not here unless you're working for the sovereign citizen group.
Exactly, and then you're not making the same. And then the other question that we asked him was about Public Works going over budget on every one of their public projects. And he was well aware of that, and he said it had to come to an end. And he understood the way to putting that to an end. I was amazed. He said, we'll put pressure on the city manager. If the city manager won't do our bidding, we'll fire him. We'll find one that'll do our bidding, and make sure that those public employees are doing their job. Diana Langley is doing her job whenever she bids a project, and if she's 50% over, she needs to find a new job, and we'll get somebody in there who can bid a project and get it done for the right price. Yeah. So he understands where it's coming from. That was just a few of the questions, but we talked to him about SACOG, of course, and then we went into who. I totally won't say that one, so never mind. No, it's a private question.
Yeah,
but,
there were, and we don't want to divulge all because we'll give him an opportunity to reveal what he wants to talk to the people about when we have him on the show. And
we're not going to let you know if it was boxers or briefs.
And we went into grants too, so we got into grants.
Yeah, we talked about several
just a lot
things.
of stuff. It was really good. Really liked the guy. I really am looking forward to you guys talking to him a little bit and getting to know him. I'm really, really impressed. I think we have a really big hope for him as city council. I think he's going to do a fine job. And honestly, with the way he spoke, I haven't seen him speak in public yet. But man, if he can speak anywhere as close to how he talked to us, we've got a winner.
Yeah.
And I would put him up against old Stinky Stan any day of the week.
Did he say who he was going to endorse for sheriff? Or who he?
Yes.
I don't want to know who it is.
Okay. Yes, he did.
Yes, he did.
He did. And we didn't exactly see eye to eye on the sheriff issue.
I did.
Well, we didn't because we talked about it.
Well, we didn't because the Yuba Sutter political spotlight was split.
I told you we wouldn't talk to this, so we're done.
Okay. Anyway, moving on. We'll probably be reaching out to. I know we've discussed speaking with Mark Boomgarden, so maybe if he's listening, he might. Because actually, we're getting contacted by these individuals. So
exactly. So I don't care if they don't want to talk to us. Don't talk to us.
Yeah.
If they
So
want
Mark,
us, we'll talk to you.
If you want to go ahead and send us a message, or we'll be in touch with you. We'll probably look to maybe hoping to set something up this week, and then we also I think Tom Rooser had expressed an interest in meeting with us, and we're open to that. So, but as these people come, announcing their candidacy, we'll be having an opportunity to talk to them. And
it's a good thing this isn't TV.
Why? Better not be about my hair.
No, it's not, honey.
Okay. All right. Do we want to move on to the next topic, or do we want to go over who's all running that we know?
Well, now who's running? We can go over that.
It's not really relevant until they announce until it can be official.
Soon, right?
Right now, we know for sure it's Mark Boomgarden. We know for sure it's
Dave Shaw.
Dave Shaw. And then
there's a couple others that have websites like Grace Espindola.
yes, and
She's
the other
always
guy,
running for something, ain't she?
Always
Sean
running for
Harris's
something.
buddy.
When you live in
I'm trying
Calusa,
to
you can
remember
run
his
for
name.
anything in Sutter County.
Who's Sean Harris's buddy?
Tracy.
Tracy.
Oh, Stacy.
Stacy.
Stacy Brookman.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's not on the radar really.
Yeah, and there's it's going to be interesting.
We'd be happy to talk to him.
We'd be happy to talk to anybody because we need to figure out who's going to work out and who might not be good news.
I'd be happy to ask somebody some hard questions.
We're not scared to talk to anybody.
Not at all.
So we are going to talk about another candidate now running for supervisor. I believe you had a.
Oh yes, I've got his own little deal.
That's
don't I?
why we have the outline.
I know, and I've been doing fairly well, I thought, and now I've completely blown it.
We have a theme song for the gentleman we're going to be discussing next.
Oh, well, just off the song, this is not somebody I want in office around me.
Yes, they're all listening going, I wonder if it's me. Is it me? Are they talking about me?
Hey, just think how much money they robbed from the Beatles.
Oh yeah, well that's why do you think they sang the song?
Oh, you betcha.
You know, that's one thing that I know about the 70s and early 80s was songs were about something.
They're about politics. For
Now
me.
now you got the paper bag. I'm not sure what that is.
Yeah, I think you might have a hit there.
Sorry, guys.
Can't find your way out of? Is that what? All right.
Participation trophy.
Well, we have come to discover that Paul Bossy has published his 4-point plan to protect our firefighters.
It looks more like a 4-point plan to increase our taxes.
Yeah, because the 4 points, I think, were somewhat redundant in the way he presented them. However, the gist of it, and you can tell me if you disagree, Paul Bossy, please explain to us maybe what it really is what you meant when you said our special fire district assessment is sorely outdated as of 1997. This is inadequate and unrealistic. So I would presume that what he's proposing is that fire district assessment is too low.
Of course, that's what that's the program, man.
Mm-hmm.
It's called Rob and then rob a little bit more.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they're robbers.
He's looking for the firefighter endorsement.
We need Robin Hood.
I'm sure he's got it by his 4-point plan, baby.
Yeah. I mean, let's not look to the top-heavy structure of our fire department and all these upper echelon making hundreds of thousands of dollars. Let's not look at maybe culling some of that and trimming the fat
No,
there.
we can't do that.
We can't do that.
We
need
can't
to-
find any tax savings there. I don't understand it.
They just have to put their hands in our pockets again. That's the only solution.
Yeah.
You guys want to see something shocking, our listeners? Go to Transparent California and see what your fire department in Yuba City and Sutter County are making. Just go take a look.
I have the latest edition of the Territorial Dispatch right here.
Take a little look-see.
And this is the Gridley police chief.
Oh, I know.
The Diamond Dad.
They're calling him Diamond Dean.
Yeah.
His salary package, $332,742.
Well, check it out. That's probably a cut because I heard at one time Diamond Dean was actually the city manager and the assistant police chief at the same time.
Yeah.
Dude.
That's real-time double dipping.
I mean, it all comes back to the way to get ahead in politics is how much nerve do you have?
Yeah, I guess.
Wow. It is absurd. Really, it's absurd.
He makes more or right at the same wage. The LA police chief, LA city police chief makes, I think, like 20 grand more than him.
Yeah, which is way too much too.
Well, it's way too much, but I mean, the LA police chief, I think, has just a little bit more to deal with than Diamond Dean down there in Gridley.
Yes.
So, wow.
But City manager, $206,672.
Where's that, Gridley?
Gridley.
Well,
Yeah.
you know, that's interesting because if he
Gridley's just got to keep up with the Joneses.
See,
man.
check it out though. Now, if Diamond Dean was, if that's true that he was the city manager and the assistant police chief, he took a pay cut just to be the police chief.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's a scary
really, that's
thought.
a real tearjerker.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Crying
sad.
all the way to the bank.
That gives an idea of the continued robbery that's
Well,
going
there
on.
was a supervisor in the running who did have a plan to come up with some additional monies, but it wasn't going to the taxpayers asking for more. He was looking at the budget they had to work with, and that was Burt Manuel. And unfortunately, he didn't make it to the runoff. But there's other options, people. There is not always going to the citizen and putting your hand in their pocket.
Yes.
There's other ways.
Yeah.
And so Burt Manuel's what I'm assuming is his son, Eddie Manuel, and they'll have to correct me if I'm wrong, but he had a good rebuttal to Paul Bossi's 4-point plan. He writes, and this was a posting on Facebook, and he writes, a plan, or he responds, says, this is just common sense. He says, a plan is where you lay out a plan to secure the money. You need to develop a means to cut the current budget, to find the money to finance the fire department without raising taxes and deleting current funding for essential services. So, you people out there that think this is a plan, you need to open your eyes and find somebody that thinks out of the box. I love how he puts this. Not someone who looks at the box and thinks they are going to pull a rabbit out of it. The county is so messed up, you cannot even get a grand jury report that we have spent at least $50,000 on, not counting all the county employees' time. Now, Eddie Manuel, you made some excellent points there that I just had to share with our listeners because I couldn't have said it better, and I think
I could have. You pull rabbits out of hats, not boxes. But God,
Thank
there's
you.
always a
Thank
critic.
you. Hey, no,
I
that's a good.
appreciate it.
That's a good, honest clarification, and I like it.
So, but I always find it interesting because, all right, I'm going to use an analogy where you have a relative, say, okay, and I don't have one of these relatives, but say you have a relative and, you know, they go and they don't take time to, you know, wake up 15 minutes early enough in the morning to make their lunch. So they go stop at McDonald's every lunchtime. They buy their lunches
it all
every
the
day.
time.
Yeah, because they're lazy. They don't want to, you know, make their own lunch and take it with them to work. And then on the weekends, of course, they're up at the casino spending their paycheck. And then it comes rent time and they go, oh, Mom, Dad, sister, cousin, can you help me out? I don't have enough to cover my rent. I can't afford to live. Can you help me out? Now, they could have budgeted a little better. They could have planned a little better with their money, and this is exactly what's going on in our government. They're not managing their money.
Big time.
But
Yeah.
why,
Big
if
time.
there's somebody there to bail them out?
Yeah. So then they're coming to us saying, oh, well, you want fire protection, right? You want 911 to respond when you call, right?
No, I don't, because it cost me $1,000.
Wasn't the first
Yeah,
thing
but you didn't
said?
even have to call.
They just showed up.
I don't think they just showed up. I'm pretty sure they were sitting there waiting.
Well,
I think they
what's
were
awesome-
camping. That's, you know, in video games they call that camping.
What
you
is
camp
awesome?
out in a spot and wait for a guy to come by and you shoot him.
Well, check it out. What's awesome is the whole premise to their ticket was that the palm trees were in my yard. I can't wait for the rest of the evidence at the hearing whenever they see that I don't have palm trees in my backyard, that they're in my neighbor's yard. So it's going to be interesting because I really want to see the proof against me of the palm tree, other than the palm trees in my backyard that don't exist.
Well, they
So this will
exist
be
there in
interesting.
your neighbor's yard. They're not in your yard.
Well, they don't exist in my yard.
No.
So it's going to be interesting to explain your way out of this one, buddy. I'm really telling you.
Believe me, the gears are turning.
The night you got the offer to come into my backyard, you probably should have came, because the offer was put out there, come look at my backyard. You refused, so now you have no evidence.
Well, they can look at Google Earth and see that the palm trees they were referring to are not in your backyard.
Well, I hope they look before whatever day it is, Kangaroo Court Day.
Yeah.
Because I don't get to see a real jury and I don't get to see a real judge. I get to do an appeal.
Before Mr. Kangaroo.
Yes, Captain Kangaroo. So it ought to be interesting. But I paid my fine. So then I got my appeal.
No, I paid your fine.
Yeah, you paid my fine. You bailed me out. You kept me out of jail.
Well, it's out of your money, so I guess it's
anyways.
okay. But so the other thing that happened when I went to go pay your fine and get you out of Hawk was I let him know. I said, hey, you might want to pass word along to Jesse that he doesn't actually get the $1,000 because he was just a little too excited to hand over that citation for $1,000. So I said, you might want to explain that to him. It doesn't actually go into his paycheck. So,
Well, but he's going to get he's going to get compensated very well, guarantee you. So I want to. I'm looking at the Territorial Dispatch. I love this little newspaper. You know what I mean? There's so many good stories in it and truth.
yes.
And it says here there's going to be a town or a little ice cream social for Wendell Anderson this coming week, and I'd be willing to bet. I'd be willing to bet that Wendell is going to tell the people that he needs more money. Anybody want to take that bet? I'll bet you that's going to come out of his mouth. Okay.
Yeah, I don't think you'll get that bet from anybody
we
here
need
because we
more
all
money.
agree.
We need more money. We need more money. Okay.
More money.
So I just thought I'd throw that out there.
One
I'll
of our,
take
Well,
you
Andy
out.
was pushing that yesterday.
If I win, we're going to bet a blizzard. Okay.
okay.
I'm not going to bring in a blizzard for the whole county. You know, I'm not going to do any rain dance. I'm talking the kind of blizzard that you get at Dairy Queen.
Okay.
Yes. So that's
For
the
who?
bet.
For who you bringing this in for?
Anybody that wins the bet.
I ain't sharing.
I'm taking the bet.
No.
Okay.
If
we
I
gotta-
win,
we gotta
if
do
he
it.
doesn't mention
Okay.
that he needs more money for
But
the,
I know
for,
he's going to ask for more money. I know.
Oh,
he's
you
going
already
to.
know that.
I already know that. So what I want to do is I want to get a point spread here, like we get in Vegas. Is he going to ask in the first 10 minutes or the first 20 minutes? Then I'll take the bet.
No.
If he comes up there and says in 5 minutes, I need more money and I need to raise taxes, then you win. But if it takes him 10 minutes to get to it, then I win.
No, I don't like that. I don't like that program. I
the
want a
fact
straight
is-
across the board
The fact
bet.
is,
baby.
we all know that he's going to ask
Okay.
for more money. It's just a matter of when in his spiel he's going to ask for it.
Okay.
I gotta read this real quick. I'm not gonna read the whole thing, but it just says a big thank you to basically all of us out here at the Political Spotlight for bringing up that life doesn't really give out trophies to everybody. And he says somebody told him, man, you're really lucky out there. And he goes, yep. And he said, I replied, yep. The harder I work, the luckier I get.
Funny how that works.
We love you, Ricky. We sure miss you, buddy. But yeah, that is awesome. I mean, I've never heard it put that way, but you can bet, Ricky, I'm going to use it. Yep, I'm pretty lucky.
And you have plenty of opportunity to use that. You
And
get
the
told
harder I
all the
work,
time.
the luckier I seem to get. Because it sure ain't coming from lotto tickets or gambling. It just ain't, because I just don't do that much. So yeah.
I had to pretty much work most of the day yesterday. You know what I mean? That was my day off.
I worked yesterday too, at sucking down some Mike's Hard Lemonades and laying in the pool. It was hot out.
Yeah.
Oh, you worked on your clips for the radio show.
I'm sure you did something constructive because I know you.
Yeah, I put up a fence, and then I did some radio show work, and then I did something else too. I forgot what it was. I had to clean my vehicles.
Yes.
So
all this, and okay, so I have to give kudos to my awesome husband. I tell him all the time he's the best husband in the world. He always says, oh, I'm not. So some of you know, not everybody knows, I had a medical issue. I had some surgery. I've been going through recovery, and okay, I'm not real up to speed yet. I'm still recovering. I can't get around real well. This man has been doing everything, absolutely everything. The shopping, the preparing meals, the doing the dishes, the taking care of the animals. There isn't anything that happens in a household he hasn't been doing. And every time now that I'm starting to get around a little bit more, I got up and say, okay, let me help you do some side dishes. He says, nope, you go sit down. I mean,
Can I come live at your house?
No.
Yes.
Just saying.
Don't want to share, huh?
I know the gravy train's going to end eventually, but I'm just saying that for better, for worse, in sickness and health, he's got it all. It's
So
covered.
he's fulfilled his marriage vows.
Obligation.
Fulfills it, exceeds
And
it.
that is an honorable thing to do.
Yes. So,
So we're
I
we're gonna
just
give one
yeah.
for Jason right
One
there.
for Jason. I so appreciate. I'm so grateful.
'Cause he's doing the right
Couldn't
thing.
ask for more.
Suck it up.
Yeah.
You know, but here's my thing, guys, and I really appreciate it. I'm getting teared up in here because I really appreciate that, honey. But the fact is I know you guys, the guys in this group, would do the same thing. But the bad thing is when we have to talk about it and give a participation trophy for it because it's that uncommon, there's a problem with our society. Testosterone and, you're a man and male masculinism and all that stuff. And guess what? That's what it is to be a man, folks.
That's right.
Sorry.
Take care of your wife.
Exactly. And you
Yes.
take care of what needs to be taken care of, and you get it done. That's masculinity for you. Anybody who wants to beat up on that and trash it, go right ahead. But that's why I'm a man, and that's what men do.
You
Sorry.
get it done. For some reason, though, this program, I've been looking through the glass there, and you remind me of that guy in Jurassic Park. Remember the original show Jurassic
Don't
Park?
say it. Don't say it.
Yeah, he was
I don't
the
wanna hear
tech.
it.
He
I
was
don't
the
wanna hear
tech
it.
guy, and then
I
he
don't wanna hear it.
snuck
Tech
off
guy,
with that little embryo or something to sell it on the black market. Yeah.
Hello, Newman.
Yeah, that's the guy.
That's him. Wow.
Well, I don't know, but I want to say that, that doing the right thing often gets complimented too much now, whenever doing the right thing should be just doing the right thing. And I don't want to say that and you belittle what you just told me, because I love it. I appreciate it. Thank you, honey. But the fact is that's what every man should do for their wife, period.
Well, on the other side, it's nice to have a woman that appreciates it.
Yes.
And acknowledges it and expects it in a little bit of a way, instead of the other ones that, I don't need you to do anything for me. And
Exactly. That is very nice.
Yeah.
Because I don't get beat up about my masculine.
you hold the door open for these young women anymore? They just walk through, don't say.
Yeah.
Now
I encountered that just the other day. I was walking up to a door at a store, and I held it open for this feminazi.
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah. And she did not want me to hold that door open for her. And I kept insisting. She finally walked through. But it was something that was an affront to her. Wow. I want to talk a little bit about this article in the Territorial Dispatch. It's called Water Efficiency Assessments and Improvements. Okay? If you get a chance, read this. This article is so full of fascism that it reeks with it. It's business and government colluding together. And they even talk about how they're going to give you some good low-flow toilets. Well, for those lunatics out there that don't really understand this toilet program, now you got a low-flow toilet, you got to flush it twice. Right? There it is.
There's the water conservation.
Yeah, there you go.
Right down the drain.
Right? I put a new fluid master in, and now we got to flush the toilet twice.
Yep.
That really saved some water, didn't it?
Yep. Well, that's what I'm saying. There goes your water conservation right down the drain.
Well, San Francisco has non-flush toilets. It's called a sidewalk.
Oh, yeah.
And they've got an emergency poop team that runs out and cleans it up.
They better pray for 105-degree days.
Oh, man.
Oh, man.
Hey, I'll tell you
On
what.
Fisherman's Wharf.
I'll tell you what, folks. Sacramento is not far behind them.
Yeah.
Not far at all.
Yeah.
So I really wanted to play that fascism.
We'll have to play it next week because I don't think you have
We don't
time
have
now.
enough time, so I'll open with that next week. I'll put a little bit of music to it, and we'll open with that next week. Because I don't think a lot of people understand what a fascist is. And once you hear it and you study it just a little bit, you're going to realize that, guess what? We're living right in fascist-occupied territory right now. No doubt about it.
Bound to get worse.
Who doesn't know what it is? Antifa.
Yeah.
Well,
The anti-fascists, they don't know I'm anti-fascist, but they don't know what it is.
No, they don't.
No, but it's designed that way. It's absolutely designed that thing. Everything is upside down and backwards for a reason.
Yes.
Multiple definitions of fascism.
Yes.
But you got to go back, way back, and you're going to get an idea what fascism truly is.
We'll play this next week, and I promise
Dinesh
we'll open with
D'Souza, he gets it.
Yeah.
Yes.
And so we'll get that
Now,
rolling.
here's a little quote from Andy Vasquez in the paper. Okay.
You're going to quote Andy?
Yes.
I'm going to quote him real quick.
Well,
we don't have a dog in
it
this
seems
fight.
to me like he's turning into a bleeding heart here. It says, talking about this water program and this giveaway program for the poor. Okay?
It's called election year.
Oh, there it is. So Andy says, this program has the ability to save a lot of money for some of Yuba County's poorest families, said Andy Vasquez, Yuba County Water Agency Director / County Supervisor. We've invested millions in reducing flood risk and improving our water supply over the years, and it's great to see this investment in water conservation that directly impacts our people in a way that can give them a little boost. Oh, man, that just touches my heart, man.
I can see those big old crocodile tears running down your face.
Yes.
Over there.
Now, remember, Andy, you're going to have to flush twice now. Okay. So.
And I'd like to give a shout out to Santos real quick. He just wrote me that, I'm giving sexist a bad name with joking about it. And, that's what I'm here for, Santos.
Look, we need to,
I'm not confused. I'm a male.
Both Santos and Chris Starkey lost their fathers this last week, and we want to send out our heartfelt condolences to both of them.
Yes, absolutely.
And Santos is called the Wiki Man.
He is.
For a very good reason.
Yes.
Because I'll tell you what,
he
can flat get it done for Lou Benninger, and Lou Benninger doesn't run an easy show, man.
Yeah,
he can pile stuff on you all week and then slap it together at the end. So he does a job about 3 guys.
He's doing a good job, that's for sure. I spent about 2.5 hours listening to Lou.
Yeah.
This morning with my earbuds in. My wife hates it when I wear those earbuds for some reason.
All right, guys. Well, we got to wrap it up. I'm going to give us just a little bit of music to take us out.
God bless everybody.
Everybody have a great week. We'll see you in 1 week right here at the Yuba Sutter Political Spotlight Show.